Is with Victoria, and they're making a very hearty bolognese of some sort. What's up, guys?
Well, we are here. We were just talking about the zoo, too, and your son loves the zoo.
Yes. Sam and I, we always go to the zoo several times during the summer.
Of course, after you make dinner.
Yeah.
You have to come back for dinner.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
You're making a gnocchi bolognese today?
Gnocchi bolognese. It's basically a potato-based pasta dough. It's a dumpling made with potatoes, and then the bolognese sauce is just a fancy term for a meat sauce.
When I heard that you were doing this, I actually thought you were going to make the bolognese and we were going to just open up a package for the gnocchi.
No,
you're actually going to make it?
I'm going to make the gnocchi. That's what I have the bolognese made, but I'm going to go through how I made it. We actually do this a lot for catering. We did this last night at the Crisis Services.
Oh, right, the men who cook.
We did this last night, too. It went over well there, but we're going to be making everything from scratch.
Does it take long?
No,
Obviously, we only have an hour-long show.
No, it doesn't. My mother can actually do this. She actually makes it with ricotta cheese, and if she can do it, anybody can do it.
See, I thought it would be the opposite. Your mother saying, my son can actually make this.
No.
Did you just slight your mother? Say you're sorry.
No, that was the most impressive dish she's made in years past. So. Okay,
so what do folks need to get?
Well, for here, this is very simple. All we have is some potatoes that I baked. I actually bake them instead of boiling them because it doesn't suck up as much moisture, so they stay lighter. I have some flour, eggs, a little bit of pecorino or Parmesan cheese, a little salt and pepper, and a little fresh nutmeg, which I'll show you. It's very simple.
And the butter is not for the gnocchi?
The butter is not. That's going to be for my second helpings, though.
Oh.
But also one of my favorite gnocchi dishes, because this will make extra. So it's a nice one to use.
Is there a particular potato that you like to use?
Yeah, just use your standard Idaho potato, baking potato.
Okay.
You could substitute sweet potato if you want to do a nice fall dish, sweet potato gnocchi, or like a squash, butternut squash or something like that. You just have to play around with the flour because some of those are more, the moisture levels are different.
All right, we're going to get started on the gnocchi when we come back for our next segment. For now, we're going to toss it back to you guys.
Right, looking good.
Yeah, we're not going to stay here for very long either. No, we're going to take a look at what's going on the web.
That's right. Emily Lenahan joins us now with the...
Gnocchi?
I say it gnocchi.
Gnocchi. We were just debating that.
I've heard several different pronunciations.
Gnocchi. Gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
Let's call it gnocchi today.
Yeah.
You're making it with the bolognese sauce, and let's explain how to make the bolognese.
Yes, quickly, what I've done here, very simple. Pancetta, which is cured Italian bacon.
Right.
Or you could use any bacon. I've rendered that down. I've added carrots, onions, and celery. Sauteed a little more. You could use either half beef and half pork, or half veal, half pork. Basically, two different meats.
Does that make a difference in terms of flavor?
It does. It does. If you're, you could use beef and Italian sausage would be a nice combination. You cook that down a little more, and then after that, we've added tomato paste, a little milk, believe it or not, white wine, and you simmer for a while, a little beef stock. Keep it going for a couple of hours, and then the seasonings we put in there are just salt and pepper. There's actually garlic in there, a little rosemary as well.
I can taste the rosemary. That's delicious. And you put some vegetables in there. Joe was hoping you'd put peas in there.
Peas are a very good addition to bolognese. Yeah, bolognese, peas. I love pasta and peas. Any peas and sort of.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you just let it go for a couple of hours. Adjust your seasonings. Longer the better. This is one that would be good, like layered in a lasagna too, not necessarily with gnocchi. So.
All right. When we come back, speaking of the gnocchi, we're going to put the gnocchi together. So we'll hold off on that. That's delicious.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Back to you guys.
All right. Good stuff. I'll eat it without the peas. Don't worry about it.
Do you know what? I would just eat.
We had our potatoes that we baked. What I've done is I peeled the skins off some of them, and then I'll show you just how. What I did is I split the potato and I put it cut side down on the cutting board, and then
just roll it off.
You just basically peel all the skin off. And an important thing is to work while the potatoes are still warm, but not hot.
Okay.
So
I can still see some steam.
Yeah. So, and like I said, you could boil the potatoes too if you wanted to do it. Like, thank you.
I might just eat some of it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Waste not, want not.
If you wanted to boil the potatoes, you could, but like I said, baking them draws out more of the moisture, and that way it stays lighter. The gnocchi stays lighter, and they're not like we were discussing.
Heavy rocks.
Little sinkers, right.
Yes.
And I found this neat spatula that you guys had here. Normally what I would do is run this through a food mill or a ricer, which is basically something that would give you no lumps, and you either run it through the food mill or a ricer. to make mashed potatoes, so you get nice smooth mash. We're not going to do that. You have this cool thing here, so what I'm going to do is I would just...
And right on the cutting board.
Go back and forth right on the cutting board, which is your best tool for this, which will give you, take away some of the lumps. But what I like to do is leave a couple of the skins in there. Some of the lumps aren't too bad, because then it'll show that you actually did make these and they're not like a store-bought gnocchi. And this is another good thing here. You could use a bench scraper, which is a fancy thing to scoop your potatoes, but this giant spatula you guys have doubles as that as well. So I have the potatoes down, and now what we need is 3 egg yolks. So what I'm going to do is make like a well here.
What can I do?
Yeah.
Oh, egg yolk.
Egg yolks, so right there. Or you could use the shells to separate them. Perfect.
Oh!
That's all right. That's why I brought an extra egg.
Okay, should I just stir them both in?
You could use what's in that shell. That'll be fine. It's a pretty forgiving recipe. So we have our 3 egg yolks, and then I have some flour here. This is, you can use all-purpose flour. This is actually a 00 flour or a pasta flour that you can get at your local...
What is 00 flour?
00, it's just like a softer flour.
Lighter?
Lighter.
Okay.
It won't yield as a heavier gnocchi. So we have the 3 egg yolks in here. We had 3 potatoes. I've got about 1.5 cups of flour there. A little bit of salt and pepper.
I can't believe how easy you're making this.
And what I have here, if you want to take that out of there, that's a whole nutmeg right there. What I've done is taken that and grated it. You can just dump that grated nutmeg into there. That's a nice little flavoring for this traditional. And then the cheese. And what we're going to do is just...
a handful of cheese.
Yeah. One more handful for good luck. What we're going to do is bring this all together, and this is our gnocchi dough.
Kind of fold it in?
Yeah, fold it in. It's a little messy, but that's all right. This is something that if you have kids, that they can help with.
They would love that.
My son would really enjoy doing this.
And about half of it would end up actually food.
Yes, it would. It would get, I would get the giant cutting board out for that, because he's, he would have his way with this.
When I ate the potato skin, that potato is so moist.
Yeah.
It's just a rich potato. What if because sometimes you can get the potatoes that just are dry. Would that affect your recipe?
It would, but here's what you got to do is, when you're making this, if this was a nice, really, really humid day in the summer, if you were making this, you would have to add a little bit more flour. Or if your potatoes are drier, you would have to add a little less flour.
Oh, so you gauge it.
Yeah, you have to gauge it. But this is exactly what you're looking for right here.
Okay.
And that's our gnocchi dough right there. It's very simple.
That took all of 3 minutes.
And your hands are left as a mess here. I have like Mickey Mouse hands here. And what we do now is we'll let this sit for 1 second.
Okay.
And that's when you'll start.
What can I do for you?
What we'll do, I'll just keep cutting here. What we'll do is now you cut this into a manageable piece right here.
You cool it first, or
it's
matter?
basically ready to go. What we'll use is a little extra flour here.
Okay, we've got 1 minute.
And we'll roll it out. And then just like the size of like your thumb, maybe. And then you just cut your gnocchi like this. And if you want to take the lid off that pot...
I can do that. I've been boiling water all morning.
All morning, yes. And you just drop them in, being very careful. And that's your gnocchi right there. Very simple.
You're like Nuclear Man with your hands.
Yeah, I know.
Your skin is falling off.
Right.
Not really. You're gnocchi Man.
It's very simple, very delicious, prepared in a bunch of different ways.
Okay, I've got about 10 seconds left. How do we know that it's done?
They'll
Can you
float.
overcook it?
Very simple. They'll float up, let them go for about 3 to 4 minutes. From this, you're ready to go. Toss them with the bolognese sauce.
And you're good to go.
Top it with a little cheese. It's wonderful.
All right, we're going to try that when we come back for our second
Absolutely.
helpings. You've got a very creative one for
Yes.
that as well, so stick around. We'll be right back. We're going to head, when we come back, we're going to...
Yeah, so we
light.
have... Yeah, it is light. It's very light. What we were talking about is after you've cut the gnocchi, we boil them and are using them in our bolognese and our second helpings. But if you wanted to take the gnocchi, the raw gnocchi that you didn't boil, put them on a sheet tray and freeze them. They come back wonderfully. You freeze them in a tray. Pop them in the water for 5 minutes, and you're set to go. We have our gnocchi bolognese here that we did first. Now with the other gnocchi that you could even have cooked for this, but we just have them in the water. What we're going to do is add a little butter to this hot pan, and we're going to basically brown it up, and we're going to add our gnocchi to that, and we're going to crisp them up, like you said, a pierogi style, you know what I mean? We're going to...
crispy outside.
Crispy outside.
Soft inside.
And if you wanted, what you could do for me is pick some of these sage leaves off there.
Sage, in case you were wondering, it's sage.
This is fresh sage. You could use thyme, rosemary, any herbs you want. And you're going to basically put those in the butter whole like that, and they're going to start to crisp up.
You want me to do more?
Yeah, go ahead. Throw a couple more in there. I'll switch with you. And now what we're going to do is take our gnocchi out of the water, or your leftover gnocchi that you have cooked from the night before, and you're going to saute them in this butter and brown them up real nice, and just top it with a little grated cheese. And this is actually one of my favorite pasta dishes, and it's very, very simple.
Oh, I can't wait to try that one. It smells delicious. I'm not sure I would have thought that I'd like the sage so much.
Yeah,
it smells great.
And if you don't want, well, the reason I leave the sage whole is if you're not a real big sage fan, you could just push the leaf to the side. It's not all chopped up in it. And that way it just flavors the butter as opposed to eating a whole sage leaf.
I'm so excited today. We have a great meal. We had the first helping of gnocchi and bolognese, and this one with the sage and the butter.
Exactly.
And we know how to make an easy gnocchi. Chris from Joe's Deli, thank you so much again. That's why you're one of our favorite chefs here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And hello to his mother, who's still a great cook to me.
Yes.
Back to you guys. Love you, Mom.
All right, we're going to take a look now at what's happening around town tonight in Cheektowaga. There's a special event in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.